Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking a really fascinating look at the high-stakes story found in our source material, More Than Great Riches.
Yeah, our mission today is to sort of distill the journey of Tracy Dixon. She seems like this innocent young woman, right, an aspiring actress,
Right.
and she gets tangled up in this major crime. We're talking serious jewel theft, assault, only to discover the truth, and maybe her own redemption back in her, well, slightly busted up hometown.
And it really is a spectacular crash and burn scenario for Tracy in New York City. She's working as an agency assistant, trying to make it as an actress. She attends this celebrity recession thrown by Rhonda Starr, totally innocently, actually. She apparently helped find the Starr's lost dog just before everything went sideways.
Right, but her acquaintance, this guy Rick Timmons, he crashes the party, and he doesn't just crash it.
No. He steals at least $500,000 worth of jewelry, irreplaceable stuff, family heirlooms apparently, and leaves the butler seriously hurt, possibly dying at that point.
The consequences for Tracy back in New York are just immediate and devastating. The NYPD detective Diaz, he's on her instantly.
Yeah, fingerprints, questioning, basically treats her like she's in on it from the get-go.
Exactly. Then she's fired. Just like that. From the talent agency, to protect their good name.
And blocked from an AIDA audition she'd been working towards. Her entire professional life just poof, gone, based on nothing but association.
That speed of judgment, that's really key here, isn't it? How fast a good name can just be shredded.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the pressure doesn't stop there. It actually follows her home. She basically flees NYC.
Understandably.
Drives straight back to her hometown, Allerton, Massachusetts. She just got word her brother, Jeff.
Yeah.
He's in really bad shape.
Yeah, Jeff's an Iraq war vet, struggled with alcohol, and now he's in critical condition at Mass General. Severe burns, like 70% of his body after a horrific car crash.
So she arrives home to absolute rock bottom. It's not just grief over Jeff. It's isolation. The house is neglected, musty.
Phone's dead, can't even call anyone easily. And then the financial bombshell drops.
The property taxes.
Yep. Over a year overdue on Jeff's house. The town's about to seize it. She's facing losing the family home on top of everything else.
So her back's against the wall. She has to do the one thing she probably swore she'd never do.
Go see Keith Bradford.
Yes. Her former fiancé, the state representative who didn't just dump her. He actively smeared her reputation in town after leaving her for a more, let's say, politically useful marriage to the governor's daughter.
It's a really bitter pill to swallow. She needs his help to petition the court just so she can become conservator for Jeff's assets and pay those overdue taxes.
It really shows the desperation, doesn't it? It's not just about stolen jewels anymore. It's about small-town politics, old wounds, and how easily you can be crushed when your reputation's gone.
And before she can even deal with that match, she has this incredibly dramatic run-in with the local law.
Oh, yeah. Walks into her own dark, supposedly empty house.
And finds herself staring down the barrel of a Smith & Wesson, held by the chief of police, Leif Ericson.
Quite the welcome home.
Definitely. He's described as this sort of Viking figure, sea gray eyes, has a noticeable limp. He was checking out the lights, thought the place is abandoned.
But here's the twist, or part of it. Leif actually knows the family. He was friends with Jeff.
Right. He'd even helped Jeff get back into the church community, tried to support him. So there's this immediate connection, but also tension.
Because?
Well, Leif steps up. He drives her to Boston, this long drive, so she can see Jeff in the hospital. Seems like a good guy, right?
Okay. But there's a catch.
There is. You need to know, Leif isn't just being purely neighborly here. Detective Diaz from NYPD. He already called ahead.
So Diaz warned Leif about Tracy.
Basically painted her as a potential accomplice, grand theft, maybe even murder, since the butler's condition was critical. So Leif is watching her closely, torn between helping her and his duty as chief.
Okay, so attraction versus professional suspicion. Got it.
And then fate throws another wrench in the works, maybe the biggest one.
The car.
The ancient Ford Galaxy. It's like 35 years old. On the way to Boston, right there on Main Street. Catastrophic engine failure.
A blown rod. The car is completely totaled.
Yep. Gets towed off to Henry's garage. And that seems like the absolute worst thing that could happen to someone already broke and overwhelmed, right?
Would think so. Just another disaster piled on.
But that breakdown, that specific mechanical failure, it becomes maybe the single most important event in this whole tangled mess.
Because it strands the car? And maybe something in the car.
Exactly. It anchors those priceless jewels in Allerton in a very public, very inconvenient spot for a thief.
Okay, so Tracy gets back from the hospital visit, presumably devastated about Jeff. What happens next?
Well, Leif starts noticing things, weird things happening around Tracy. First, her house gets completely ransacked, turned upside down.
Burglary. Did they take anything?
That's the thing. No cash missing, nothing valuable taken. Whoever broke in was looking for something specific, something they didn't find.
Okay. And then...
Then Leif hears about this stranger who approached Tracy. Offered her $15,000 cash.
For what?
For the totaled Ford Galaxy sitting at Henry's garage.
15 grand.
Yeah.
For a car that's basically scrap metal? That's insane.
Absolutely outrageous. And that's the moment Leif puts it all together. It clicks.
He realizes Timmons must have hidden the jewels in her car that night at the reception.
Precisely. Timmons probably planned to retrieve them later, quietly. But Tracy, dealing with the news about Jeff, just jumped in the car and drove straight to Massachusetts completely unexpectedly.
Taking the $500,000 stash with her without even knowing it?
Right. And then the blown rod sealed the deal. The car and the jewels were stuck at Henry's garage.
So Leif figures this out. Does he search the car?
He does, but he asks Tracy for permission first. She's still wary of him, the whole police chief thing, the initial suspicion, but she eventually agrees.
Does he find them?
He does. Under the backseat cushion, wrapped up in some old rags, he finds a battered leather case. Inside, all of Rhonda Starr's missing jewelry.
Wow. $500,000 worth of heirlooms just sitting there.
Yep. So now Leif, the small-town police chief, is holding evidence from a massive New York City crime. What does he do?
Call Detective Diaz, right? Tell him they found the jewels.
That would be standard procedure. But Leif, he makes a really controversial call. He decides not to tell NYPD. Not immediately, anyway. He conceals the discovery.
Wait, why would he do that? That's risky.
Hugely risky. His reasoning, as the source portrays it, is strategic. He believes if he announces the jewels are found, Timmons will just vanish, go underground.
Okay.
Leif thinks Timmons is still desperate to get that fortune back. So his plan is, well, it's bold. He decides to use Tracy and her car essentially as bait.
Bait. He's going to let Timmons keep thinking the jewels are in the car, hoping Timmons makes a move, while Tracy is right there.
That seems to be the plan. He wants to nail the big fish, as they say, catch Timmons in the act of trying to retrieve the loot.
Okay, hold on. That sounds incredibly dangerous for Tracy, and frankly, maybe not entirely ethical for a police chief. He's withholding evidence in a major felony case.
It's definitely operating in a gray area, maybe even outside standard procedure. The narrative suggests his motivation is layered, yes, catch the bad guy, but also he's convinced Tracy is innocent.
And he knows the NYPD already views her with suspicion.
Exactly. Diaz basically told him she was likely involved. Leif believes if the jewels are found but Timmons gets away, Tracy's name might never be fully cleared. She'd always be under that cloud.
So, by using her as bait, he forces Timmons to show his hand, which would then completely exonerate her.
That's the gamble. It's an insane gamble, really. Driven by his sense of duty, his belief in her innocence, and probably, let's be honest, his rapidly growing feelings for her.
That definitely ramps up the stakes. And while all this is going on, Tracy's dealing with the emotional wreckage concerning her brother.
Oh, absolutely. She's been visiting the hospital, sitting by the bedside of this man she believes is Jeff, who's in a deep coma, catastrophic burns. It's heart-wrenching.
And Leif knew Jeff well, right? So he knows this patient.
He does, and he's been sort of maintaining this difficult pretense, likely to spare Tracy even more pain while she's dealing with the house crisis and the NYPD suspicion.
But that can't last forever.
It doesn't. The truth comes out in the most shocking way possible. Tracy gets a call from the doctor, Dr. Burroughs, the patient in the burn unit. The man Tracy's been mourning, sitting with, it's not Jeffrey Dixon.
What? How?
The injuries didn't quite match Jeff's known history. It's something about a leg injury versus just a foot. And crucially, the dental records were definitive. They didn't match Jeff's.
So who was it?
It was Jeff's army buddy, Ron Carter. He'd borrowed Jeff's car that day.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
where is Jeff? Is he okay?
He is. The relief must have been just immense for Tracy. It turns out Jeff is alive and well. He checked himself into a rehab facility the day before the accident.
To deal with his drinking problem.
Exactly. He couldn't call Tracy because the program had a strict no outside contact rule for the first 6 weeks.
Wow. So this enormous weight of grief she was carrying just lifted. Instantly.
Instantly. But even as she's processing that miracle, the small-town drama continues. She gets falsely accused again.
Of course she does. What now?
Her old rival, Sheila Dunn, accuses her of stealing an opal ring from the church handbell room. Just Pure malice, seems like.
And this connects back to Leif somehow.
It does. Remember Keith Bradford, the slimy ex-fiancé?
State Representative Keith, how could I forget?
He'd made a point of telling Tracy that Leif had been offered the role of Jeff's guardian ad litem, basically, the court-appointed person to manage Jeff's affairs while he was thought to be incapacitated.
Yeah.
And Leif had turned it down. Keith spun this to Tracy to make her doubt Leif's motives, suggesting he didn't really care about helping her or Jeff.
Trying to drive a wedge between them.
Politics. Small-town politics at its finest. But Leif proves where his loyalty lies. He investigates the stolen ring claim.
And finds it.
He finds it hidden in Sheila Dunn's own music folder at the church.
No way. Sheila framed her.
Looks like it. Leif forces Sheila to make a very public, very humiliating apology to Tracy. This is a turning point, you know?
Yeah, because back in NYC, her name was trashed instantly. Here, the person who matters, Leif, uses actual evidence to restore her reputation. The good name theme really pays off.
Exactly. And that sets the stage for the final act. Leif's risky plan is still in motion.
The bait plan. Is Timmons still around?
He is. Tracy's working a shift at the Fisherman's Landing restaurant. She sees this tall guy, dark hair, beard, glasses, clearly a disguise.
Ugh.
But when he speaks to the head waiter, she recognizes the voice. Instantly, it's Rick Timmons.
Wow. Leif's plan worked. Timmons came back for the jewels.
He did. Leif's on the phone with Tracy. He's been tracking her, and he's yelling at her, "Stay put, don't move, let us handle it."
But Tracy, she's been through too much, hasn't she?
She's had enough. She's been accused, fired, suspected, framed. She is not letting this guy get away.
So she ignores Leif's orders.
Completely. Jumps in her car, presumably a loner since the Galaxy's wreck, and starts tailing Timmons' black Porsche.
Tailing a suspected murderer in a Porsche. That's brave. Or maybe crazy.
A bit of both, probably.
Yeah.
She stays on the phone with Leif, though, giving him directions as she follows Timmons to the Clamdigger Motel over in Wareham.
And Leif gets there.
Leif and his deputies arrive just in time. Tracy confronts the man.
How does she confirm it's him, despite the disguise?
Two things. That unmistakable voice she recognized, and she points out something specific. An L-shaped scar from an old injury on his hand, apparently from a firecracker accident years ago.
That seals it.
That seals it. Rick Timmons is arrested, not just for grand theft, but for murder. Turns out the butler did die from his injuries.
Tracy Dixon?
Completely cleared, vindicated. Her own actions, her integrity, her maybe slightly reckless courage led directly to his capture and the restoration of her good name.
So wrapping this up for our listeners, it's quite a journey. The woman who seemingly lost everything, her job, her reputation, almost her brother, almost her sanity.
Ends up finding vindication. Timmons is caught. Her brother Jeff is safe and in recovery. And the man who started out suspecting her, Chief Leif Ericson.
You fell in love with her.
Completely. He admits later he was fighting his attraction because he thought she might be a criminal, but he knew somehow from the moment her ancient car broke down on Main Street, that was the girl he wanted to marry.
He fell for her when she was at her absolute lowest point. Broke, stranded, under suspicion.
Yeah. It leads to their engagement, built on this really tumultuous foundation, but ultimately solidified by honesty and restored faith.
It really hammers home that dedication in the source text, doesn't it? Proverbs 22.1. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold.
Perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy lost the potential riches and glamour of NYC, but she fought for and regained her good name and found genuine esteem and love in the process.
And the catalyst for so much of it, the investigation, the romance, the final capture, was that discovery. $500,000 in jewels under the seat of a broken-down car.
Yeah, that whole chain of events. The financial pressure forcing her home, the car dying, Leif's risky plan. It all converged because of those jewels hidden in that specific, unlikely place.
It makes you think. If that old Ford Galaxy hadn't blown a rod right then and there, if she just made it to the garage quietly, everything could have been different. So here's something for you to consider. What's the greatest fortunate accident? That unexpected mishap or detour that has ever steered your life in a completely new, maybe even better direction?